So I wanted to ask Kendra to come back on tonight just because we were having this chat today, and we've continued having these talks about what Big Al has taught us and kind of how to duplicate and how to implement some of the things that he was talking about and how to use words. So I asked Kendra to talk a little bit about maybe, and I wanted to ask her maybe a couple questions about what her thoughts were with regards to how to have conversations rejection free and how to get people to make a decision, and we don't go home with our tail tucked between our legs like crying because somebody said no to us. Because guys, I don't know if you're brand new on this call or brand new with Plexus and you just started today, then maybe you haven't experienced the word no, but get ready because it will happen. So just be prepared. So Kendra, what are some of your thoughts surrounding, rejection-free conversation and what that all looks like?
Well, thank you for inviting me to come on again. I feel so honored to be with you guys 2 weeks in a row. I feel so special. I actually want to share a little bit of what I'm actually studying right now, Marianne, just because I think this fear of rejection and the fear of failure or people not liking you or telling you no, it's so much more than just someone saying no to your product. It's almost like people taking such a personal attack of them liking them, and they take it to heart. And so I've been reading a book. It's a really simple, short book called Go for No for Network Marketing. And it's got one of my favorite speakers and authors, Ray Higdon. And it's really good. I was actually reading it today when Marianne and I were talking, and she messaged me. We actually had been listening to a Ray Higdon video together. I sent it to her. We do this all the time where we see a good video and I'm like, oh my gosh, you've got to listen to this. It goes great with what we're actually talking about tonight or what you're talking about tonight on your call. But I was reading this today when I was sitting getting my nails done with my daughter. That's what I do. I take network marketing books and I read them. But just a little sample of what his definition is of failure. He says, our definition is failure is an undeniable sign of progress towards a goal. To our mind, the only way to be a failure is to quit, period. Anyone who is actively pursuing a goal or a dream is never a failure. They are a success in progress. Failure is never a permanent condition unless you decide that it's permanent. You must get beyond the willingness to tolerate hearing no and learn to embrace it. Now, of course, it goes on and on and on about, embracing the no and moving past it. But I want to tell you, me too. I understand. I really don't like for someone to maybe not like me or not like what I stand for or the products that I stand for or maybe, the lifestyle I stand for, whatever it is. Everyone is born for assurance and safety and comfort. But when I realized that, that Plexus has been placed into my life to change people's lives, I take that very serious. I think of someone, that's on this call. Well, just for example, the testimony, that we just heard from Carrie. If Marianne and I had said we weren't going to do this and we were going to quit at the very beginning when lots of people were rolling their eyes and telling us that we were crazy, that we were doing this, our story may have never gotten to someone like Carrie, who has struggled her entire life with saying no to food. And of course, there's, tons and tons of other testimonies out there. So for me, I try really hard, Marianne, not to take no personal, especially when it comes to my business or when it comes to the products. That I'm not saying that it's easy, and as a diamond, you can imagine I've been told no a lot. But I've also been told yes, and I celebrate those yeses. I get excited for those yeses, and then I'm always working towards that next yes. But I love the book Go for No, because the original book Go for No is, I've read the whole thing in its entirety, and it's great, and it's all about rejection. So if you've never read that book, or this is somewhere that, you know, is maybe a stuck point for someone, that would be a great book for someone to read. So did I answer your question, Mary Ann?
Yes, you did. And I want to just add to that. I think a lot of times the bigger our belief is, and the bigger our confidence in how we talk about it, about Plexus, about our products, which comes from our belief, then I think that rejection doesn't hurt as bad. I don't know. It's like, I mean, I have an unapologetic belief about Plexus, about these products, and about this business opportunity. And nobody can tell me, and I'm sure you too, Kendra, that the products don't work and the comp plan doesn't work. I mean, you know what I mean? So we have this unapologetic belief, which I believe helps with not partnering as much with the no's, because there's so many other people to tell, and there's so many other people to share it with. So I've had to, because it is hard, especially when you're close friends and family, y'all. If your close friends and family are telling you no, that to me, I don't know about you guys, but that hurts a little bit harder than, you know, Billy Bob, who I just friended last month on Facebook, you know? So we were listening to something, Kendra, today, that one of those videos that you sent, about Ray Higdon, was talking about how to approach the different markets, like your warm market and your cold market. So your warm market would be like your really close friends and family. And then your cold market is Billy Bob, who I friended last week on Facebook, and I don't know them. And I thought it was really interesting going at our warm market, our really close friends and family, especially when we're coming out into network marketing. And I wish I had known this when I first started, or I even had someone tell me this, but leading with the products first. Like, right? Because my really close friends and family know how jacked up I have been, or have been in the past, or am, or, you know, like they know that I'm not quote unquote successful. You know, they know I was the single mom of 4 on food stamps. Like, what does she know about running a successful business, right? So leading with the products, which our products are the bomb, and then letting the business opportunity kind of fall into place, might have spared me a little bit from that rejection ouch that I got from my close friends and family.
Yeah.
So
I totally agree. I wish I had known that. I definitely would have saved myself some battle scars from when I first got into the business, you know, because there's people in your lives that you're really transparent with, and, you know, they see a different side. You know, it doesn't matter how successful you are. I mean, everyone has, you know, things that they stumble on and blind spots. And so your closest friends and family sometimes just don't take you very serious when it comes to success. Or, you know, you're trying to talk to them about a business opportunity, and they're thinking, didn't I just loan you money last week? Like, didn't I just fix your hot water heater last week? Like, I don't know what you're talking about, Kendra, but they can't fathom that, you know, you would be successful at something. I always use the analogy, Mary Ann, and this is how I think about it. And it's a biblical reference of, you know, when Jesus went into the ministry and he was trying to preach in his hometown, people shunned him and kind of looked at him as like, dude, you're like the carpenter's son. Like, we changed your diapers. Like, we saw you fall down. Like, we saw you hit your finger with a nail or with a hammer. Like, who are you? You're nobody. And he had to actually leave his village, his warm market, and he had to actually go out into the world and find other people who would take him serious, because he had a gift. He had something to share. And so that's how I kind of view, you know, I guess a really strange analogy biblically, but it works for me, that like even Jesus couldn't get his friends and family to take him serious. So that somehow that makes me feel a whole lot better, Mary Ann, you know, that like I'm not the only one that my family has rejected, or my close friends and family have rejected. So yeah, I really love that. I think starting with something a little more simple, like, you know, hey, would you support me? And, you know, I need a testimony. The way I got my parents on the products was I said, listen, I need some people to be able to say that this works with me so that I can, you know, help my family and I can make some money. because I know that you want me not to be broke anymore. So would you please take these products so that you can like have a testimony and I can tell people, hey, this really does work on other people besides me. And so I started my parents off on the products before I ever even talked about the business opportunity. And then when I did talk about business opportunity, my dad told me flat no. Like, it was absolutely not. I am not interested. He did ultimately join, and I think he did join to be an ambassador for me to go silver, just to like help me out. But he didn't start working the business until I think I was like emerald, before he actually started to believe that this was going to work.
That's yeah. I remember all that. I remember all that. And I think a lot of times people, when they first start out, are looking for these scripts. They're looking for like, what do I say? How do I say it? It's like they join network marketing and all of a sudden they're like, okay, there's a book and I need to follow these exact words of what I need to say. And I think sometimes we get a little caught up in the script of what to say that we forget how to just be human and have a conversation, and just to remember that they're more interested in, number one, they're more interested in themselves. Guys, people are intrinsically selfish creatures. That's the way we were born. But so they're very interested in what's in it. What is it going to do for them? I have said to many people on this call, I can see your names, that they'll ask me a question. I'm like, tell them what's in it for them. What's in it for them? Remember, what's in it for them. So you're always talking about sitting in their position and what is going to appeal to them. But I had another thought, but also connecting with them, connecting with somebody and just having a conversation with them, and then listening to what they're saying. I think a lot of times when we get involved in scripts per se, then we're very concerned about, okay, well, we have to follow the script. We got to say the next thing. We have to say the next thing, and we're not listening as well. If not, and so that's what I love about Big Al. And Crystal Plemmons and I were talking about this too, because she came to me, she's like, okay, is there like a place that we could do like some role playing, or we can do something like what a conversation looks like using some of these words that Big Al mentioned. And I love what Big Al does is because he only gives us what, Kendra, like 5, 7 words, 9 words. Like, it's not this whole like big paragraph of stuff, right? So I love that he does that, but he just gives us little phrases that we can use that help prompt our person to make a decision. And I think that was one thing that he said, I don't know about you guys, but whoever was at Big Al, was that we aren't in the network. We aren't in the health and wellness business. Like, we're not in the health and I think there were some people that were upset when they heard that we were not in the health and wellness business. We are in the decision-making business. Like, we need someone to make a decision. We need somebody to take their next step. So it's helping somebody. It's yes or no, or it's no, not right now.
I want to add really quick, Marianne. I don't know if you noticed today, but what you were just talking about, Ray Higdon was actually talking about as well, how he was, he does like free coaching Friday. That was the videos that we were listening to, and he was taking people's questions, and he was like doing a live interview, and he was like, I don't know why when people sign up for network marketing, they automatically forget how to talk to people. Like, if you weren't in network marketing, would it be weird for you to, like, go up and talk to your friend that you've known for the last 15 years? I mean, would that be weird? Like, why do we have to make it weird to go to a family reunion and just socialize with people? Or like, why do we have to make it weird to go to your kids' soccer game and just socialize with people? Like, just because you're network marketing doesn't mean you've got like some sort of like tattoo on your forehead that unless you make it weird, and that's the first thing you talk about, and you start scripting everybody when you come up. And I mean, that's weird. Like, that's weird, Uncle, Jack, when you go to the family reunion, that he walks in, it's like, oh God, here he comes. And like, everyone's like ducking down and like trying to like get out of the door because he's trying to sell you the newest, best snake oil, or, how to make $1 million in 6 months. We all have been around those people, and we don't we don't want you to be scripted. We want you to be human. Like, we want you to just because you signed up for Plexus doesn't mean that all of a sudden you need to forget how to talk to people. So I love Big Al's, and I'm so glad you guys are going to do some role playing, because I want people to realize it's just organic conversation. I mean, there are some key words that psychologically, you can help the person make an informed decision and it not put them on the defensive, because we've all been in people's shoes where you've been around, a cheesy salesman who says something and you automatically, your brain switches off of like, oh God, they're trying to take my money. So I do think that I love Big Al's because it's such a psychological based system and it's not really scripts. It's like, I want to help transition you. And guys, I used to do this, and I know you didn't ask me to talk about this, but it just dawned on me. I used to do this when I went in and talked to people about making a decision about organ donation. And we would sit in seminars where people would sit and teach us how to effectively approach someone to where they did not feel defensive because of such a unique situation that we were in. So I remember, Marianne, when they told me that I was kind of in the decision-making business, I thought I was in the organ donation business. I wasn't, because I didn't have any organs to offer if I couldn't get someone to make a decision to say yes. So I had already gone through some of this training of kind of what Big Al is talking about when I did organ donation. So I think that's why this was such an easy transition for me, because I had to go in and build a rapport with complete and total strangers. Like, never met them, worst time of their life, just found out that their loved one had just been pronounced brain dead, and I have to go in and build a relationship with them and talk about organ donation. Like, so there were some, I guess, magic words that we could kind of use that would help them not feel like they were on the defensive. So I completely agree with the psychology of it. I mean, because obviously organ donation, I mean, that's saving someone's life in a tragic situation. I feel the same way about Plexus. I'm as passionate about Plexus and getting someone to make a decision to say yes as I was about organ donation, because it changes people's lives. So I love we called it presumptive approach, and kind of how we went into discussing with people. And I always said I need to do a presentation about presumptive approach. I think you've heard me do it a little bit, Marianne, but it's very similar to kind of what Big Al is saying. So don't make it weird. And I'm so glad that Crystal's going to do this with you so that you guys can see. It's just a real organic conversation. And you fill in the blanks. I mean, you're not going to be sitting there with your note card, like reading, like, okay, like I need to say this now. Like, please don't make it weird. Okay, go ahead. Sorry, I took that away. I didn't mean to.
No, you're good. No, you're good. And I think, you know what, I think there's a number of things that we can learn, but the key is to implement them, right? So the key is, and I remember when I first heard, Kendra, we went to Dallas, first year at convention, and we heard Big Al speak, and he talked about, I'm just curious. Mm-hmm. Okay. And I have used that. I've just started, I had to start using it. And now it's just part of my conversation that I have with people. I'm just curious all the time. Somebody needs to be muted. Let's see. So anyway, Crystal, I want to ask you, I'm going to mute everybody, and then Crystal, you unmute yourself. Crystal, I want to ask you, what's your favorite Big Al phrase and what have you found that has worked effectively in your conversations that you have?
I don't know that I can actually pick a favorite, but I can give just a couple of examples of how I've used what he taught us over the past week or so that we've been gone. So I've used the comfortable and uncomfortable, both with a potential and in a three-way call. So a girl on my team put me in a three-way message, and this girl was talking about her doctor said that she didn't want her to be on Plexus because it was FDA approved. And so the girl is pretty, was pretty new, and she was like, I don't know what to say. And so I handled it with the comfortable and uncomfortable. And I just said, I'm totally comfortable with your decision to follow your doctor's advice, but I would be, super uncomfortable if I didn't share with you that even baby formula is not FDA approved. So I just worked it in to our conversation, and that took the pressure off of the potential. It took the pressure off of me. It took the pressure off of my ambassador, who that was her potential, because she was kind of panicky, about this girl. She's trying to tell me no. So I've used it as an objection blocker. And then I've definitely have used the what do you want to do, what do you want to know first? I've used that several times, and I never really thought that I was a person to puke plexus on people, but apparently I was, and Big Al talked about just answer their questions directly and use the what do you want to know first. And so when I used the what do you want to know first, I found out that a friend of mine, he's super, super red. And he didn't ask me any questions about the products. He went straight for, I want to know how I can make money. I said, what do you want to know first? And he sent me a list of questions. And so I answered his questions very matter-of-factly, I didn't give a whole lot of detail. I just, boom, answered the question, what do you want to know now? And he asked me again. And then when we got to the end, I was like, okay, what do you want to do now? So, that's probably been my favorite one, I would say. The comfortable and uncomfortable, and then the what do you want to know first and next, and what do you want to do?
Yes. I love both of those too, and I've used them both as well. So I've used uncomfortable and so it's basically you're using the two words comfortable and uncomfortable. You're telling them that you are comfortable with whatever decision that they choose. Right? Because we are, y'all. This is their decision. We need to be comfortable with whatever their decision is. But what we're uncomfortable with is the fact that we couldn't possibly think about not mentioning this opportunity that might allow them to stay at home with their children. Because I know that's what you want to do. Right? So it's that rejection free of you're giving it back to them. You're totally comfortable with their decision. But you're still planting that seed of, it just breaks my heart not to have you do this with me, that kind of thing.
And one more thing, Marianne, if you don't care, we've talked about affirmations for how long. And so we get up in the morning and I am beautiful, I am bold, I am a great mom. We do our affirmations. And to me, when I start that sentence with, I am totally comfortable with your decision, not only but is it putting them at ease, but it's putting me at ease too, because it's like an affirmation that I'm having to repeat. Even if she tells me heck no and or whatever, I'm comfortable with that decision because I just said that I'm comfortable with your decision. So it's almost like a little affirmation for me too, to not get so attached to the outcome as well. I just wanted to throw that in there.
Crystal, that is such great insight. That is such great insight. And I never thought of it that way, but that's totally right. Because you are saying it to yourself. And that's what our affirmations are about. Oh my God, I love that. That's awesome. That is so good. Okay. So another one of mine that I love to use is, I just said, I am just curious. I'm just curious if you are ready to make a decision or whatever it is. I use that all the time. Or would it be okay if? I use would it be okay if a lot. Would it be okay if I sent you a video that explains the triplex a little bit better than I can explain it? Would it be okay if, getting their permission, asking for their buy-in will prompt them to either take action or make a decision as to whether or not that would be okay, right? So I wrote up this little thing based on conversation that we've had before that Crystal and I are just going to kind of banter back and forth. So let's say, just do a little role playing, and you'll have to excuse me. I'm not the best role player because I usually fly by the seat of my pants. Anybody that knows me, but we are going to try. I wrote it down so I wouldn't squirrel. Okay. So, and I sent it to Crystal. So we're going to do a little role playing. Okay. Let's say, so here you go. I'll tell you a little story. You're scrolling Facebook and you come across somebody that you know or don't know, whatever, and they're complaining about the fact that they have another migraine. They have yet another migraine and they're home from work. All right. So what do you do? All right. From what I've learned, you don't put on the comments, oh my gosh, you should try Plexus, blah, 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 blah. Like you private message them is what I have found. And if anybody disagrees with me and has a different story with regards to that, but I found private messaging somebody is much better. So I would private message or even voice message or pick up the phone and call Crystal and be like, hey girl, I saw you that you're struggling with migraines. I am so sorry. It must be so hard to go to work with a migraine. I'm just curious. What do you use for your migraines? Like, do you take something?
Hey, Marianne. Yes, migraines are terrible. And when they get really, really bad, I've had to even go to the doctor and have a shot for my migraines. But the doctor has me on a medicine, and I take it every day. I think it's Topamax, but I take that medicine every day.
Oh my gosh. Wow. I could not even imagine. Would it be okay if I shared something with you which may or may not help you have a pain-free day and not have to experience those migraines anymore? Would that be okay?
At this point, Marianne, I would be willing to try anything. So what is it?
So it's an all-natural product called Plexus. Have you ever heard of it?
Well, I think I've seen you posting something, but I don't know how something that is for weight loss is going to help me with my migraines.
Well, okay, so you're right. It can be used for weight loss, but it's so much more. You know how we crave carbs and sugars so much? Well, I have a solution for that. And it's crazy how I've learned that those cravings really mean that we have yeast overgrowth and candida in our system. And that can be so related to migraine. What sort of details can I give you next? And then you just kind of go on with the conversation. But you see how we used, would it be okay? We used, I'm just curious. I could even say, you know what, Crystal, I am totally uncomfortable with you not trying these Plexus products, but I would be so uncomfortable just going another day knowing that you are suffering from these migraines and that there's something out there that I know and I have personal friends that it has helped, you know, something like that. And that's all really kind of rejection free. I mean, you know, unless Crystal slams the door in my face or kicks me in the stomach, but you know, I mean, but it's taking it off of me. So, and yeah, this may or may not be for you. You know, it may or may not be for you. That's a great, yeah, Theta, that's another good one. So I think we used like 5 different Big Al quote unquote phrases in there. And I would just encourage everybody just to pick 1 or 2, experiment on your kids, your family, your spouse, you know, and just get it into that normal habit, a normal routine to use in your conversations. I can't even remember who I was talking to. I think it was Theta. I think I messaged you and I said something like, I'm just curious. And you're like, ha, ha, ha. Or somebody, yeah, they're like, I know what you're doing. You sent me that Big Al word. But anyway, so those are that's one example of how you could approach somebody rejection free, but still offering the possibility for them to get healthy and to not have migraines. But it also works on ambassadors too. So I love what Crystal said, and I've done this with, you know, a new ambassador that I've had. Okay, so what do you want? What would you like to know next? And then I was able to get the questions that the new ambassador wanted to know, as opposed to what I normally do, which is get really excited and give them all this information. So in that way, it doesn't overwhelm them. All right, so we were trying to figure out a good exercise for you guys to do that takes what you've learned tonight and takes some of these things and puts it kind of into practice from a realistic perspective. Okay? And one thing, and I'll open it up to Kendra, everyone who's on here, whether they're on our team or not. But Thursday night, we are doing, Diamond Driven, my team is doing what we call a VIP call. And a VIP is an opportunity call where you are only allowed to invite 1 or 2 potential ambassadors to it. Okay? And it's not one where you post it on Facebook and you talk about, you know, and you're trying to get as many people there, but we're talking serious people who really are going to be business builders within your team and on your team. Okay. And being that we are one plexus, I'm going to open that to whoever's on this call. Kendra's not going to post about it on her team page at all, but for you guys who are on the call, y'all are privy, and we'd love to have you involved and come to this VIP event. And I can get Kendra the Zoom link. So it's Thursday night at 9. And so Crystal sent me this message. Wait, where I have to find it so I can read it. It was so good. It says, you're going to reach out to, somebody, inviting them to this VIP call. And you're following up with them about something. You're following up with them about Plexus, about their decision, about whatever it is. And you were talking to them about this call on Thursday night where you were only allowed to invite 2 people, and they were one of them. You've made them feel special. You know that they would rock this business. This is not for your 85-year-old grandmother who needs a probiotic. Okay, this is not that call. Okay, so it's, I'm totally comfortable with your decision, but I would be so uncomfortable if I didn't invite you to Thursday night's VIP call. I can only invite 2 people who I know can rock this business, and you are one of them. Would it be okay if I sent you the link? And of course you're like, okay, I didn't write all that down. Script, right? All right, so I have to see how to do that. Hold on. Let me, I'll copy and paste it here. And thank you so much for Crystal for doing that. Hold on. All right, so want you tonight, if you are interested, in joining us or following up with somebody who's a business builder, who's in your funnel, who you would love to get on a call. And we've got Whitney Martindale and Crystal Plemmons, and Theta's going to be on there. We'll be going over some of the products and the business opportunities, sharing stories, and it'll be 30 minutes or less. Then you are more than welcome to and follow up with them using some of those Big Al lingo. Kendra, anything else? Crystal, anything else do you want to add?
No, thank you for opening it up, Marianne. You guys are the best.
We're all about some one plexus. All right, so I'm going to stop the recording, and if